Good afternoon and welcome back to RMU-Live for this beautiful sun-shining Friday, January 26, 2018. I'm Gage Golding.
And I'm Reagan Check. Here's what's happening now.
The Moon Area School Board rejected a lawsuit filed by 12 male teachers, citing that they weren't being paid equal. The male teachers complained that they were being paid less than female teachers within the district. The teachers asked for a combined $500,000 in compensation, as well as to be placed on the higher end of the teachers' pay scale.
A former Duquesne University men's basketball player, Nick Washington, 19, has been charged with rape, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, sexual assault, aggravated indecent assault, and unlawful restraint. The victim states that she went to Washington's dorm to borrow his charger after she got separated from her friend. She states Washington then raped her, and the assault stopped when she received a text from her friend.
Canine Service Pals in Moon Township is now training animals to be service animals to those with disabilities. The new company is dedicated to working with dogs to help people within the Pittsburgh area. The company reports that each animal is about a $20,000 investment.
Robert Morris University officially became the higher education partner of the Penguins. Before the Penguin game Tuesday at PPG Paints Arena, Robert Morris President Chris Howard and Pittsburgh Penguins President and CEO David Morehouse made the partnership official. This gives professional opportunities for RMU students such as internships for the Penguins.
The North Allegheny School District has placed a hold on changing the school's start time within the district. The school board met earlier this week in order to formulate a plan to conduct more research on the benefits of later start times for students. The Pittsburgh City Council voted to turn an abandoned park in Lawrenceville into an urban green space. The garden is expected to have at least 25 fruit trees, community gardens, as well as an area for kids to play. The Department of Public Works will continue to maintain the area.
Christina Casotis, CEO of the Allegheny County Airport Authority, claims that even after all the work that has already been done to the Pittsburgh International Airport, she believes that there is still more work to be done. The airport had about 9 million passengers in 2017, which is about 1 million more than it had about 4 years ago. Casotis states that they finished the work in 3 years when they believed it would be done in 5.
The Senate recently had a hearing focusing on the epidemic of opiates. For more on the story, we go to Washington, D.C. with Omar Jimenez.
This is a massive loophole that's undermining the safety and security of our country.
In a hearing Thursday, the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee focusing on the ease of buying opioids and deadly synthetics like fentanyl on the internet and having them shipped to the U.S. in the mail.
Over the last several years, DEA has encountered a dangerous new trend, the convergence of the opioid epidemic and the synthetic drug threat from China.
Much of the illicit fentanyl comes from China, where it could be sent to Mexico to be cut with other drugs, or it could be sent directly to the U.S., oftentimes through the mail, usually as a much more potent product.
The percentage and the purity of the substance coming over the border on the southern border is a lot less than it is coming through the mail service.
The CDC says from 2016 to 2017, drug overdoses increased 16% nationwide. And states like Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Delaware saw increases of more than 40%. On average, the U.S. Postal Service says it processes and delivers more than 500 million pieces of mail every day, but it doesn't know what's in every package.
The Postal Service faces a number of challenges that private companies do not when dealing with illicit narcotics in the mail. For instance, the Postal Service is obligated to deliver international parcels even though it did not originally receive them from the customers.
The Postal Service says it's increased package seizures over the past year and is testing data that allows targeting of a greater percentage of the mail that comes through. In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez.
In response to the overwhelming numbers of opioid overdoses in their city, Philadelphia has decided to found safe injection zones. These sites have never been tested before in the U.S., but will provide medical supervision where addicts can use drugs without the fear of arrest.
In Reserve Township, Pennsylvania, SWAT members swarmed on Mount Troy Road after a suspect, Tyree Bernard, led police in a chase. On Thursday, officials say they attempted to stop Bernard in Perry South, but it quickly turned into a several-mile chase. Bernard will be facing charges to a police chase in 2016. It is unknown what charges he will face from Thursday's chase. And 5 inmates who are facing death row sued Pennsylvania prison officials on Thursday. They are challenging a policy that keeps convicts isolated for 22 to 24 hours in small cells that are illuminated for all hours. Officials say the lawsuit is under review.
Following a decision made in 2010 to allow Pennsylvania's legislature to make their own congressional district map, the Supreme Court has blocked the movement. The map that is benefiting Republicans is ordered to be revised by February 9th, according to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. The court stated that the map violated the Commonwealth's Constitution. This week, Toys R Us announced that they would be closing hundreds of stores around the nation. I was in Robinson Township with more. This week, the toy-selling giant Toys R Us announced that they would be closing the doors of over 180 stores in the United States following filing for bankruptcy last year.
The toy chain giant announced the closing in light of filing for bankruptcy in September of 2017. Toys R Us CEO David Brandon said in a statement posted on the website that the store faced a challenging Christmas shopping season in the United States and overseas. Sales in the United States declined about 15% this recent holiday shopping season compared to earlier years.
Each store, just like the one behind me, employs about 25 people. Now, the president said in a statement released earlier this week that employees would be offered a severance package if they weren't transferred to a different store.
Toys R Us isn't alone in feeling the pinch by Amazon.com and other online giant retailers. Sears Holdings Corporation announced earlier this year that they would be closing hundreds of locations across the nation.
Now, Toys R Us says only 4 stores here in the Pittsburgh area are going to be affected, and you can see on your screen now, Ross Park Mall, Toys R Us will be affected. Toys R Us in Washington, PA, Monroeville, and Monaca, Beaver County, those stores will all close their doors sometime this February into mid-April following the approval of their bankruptcy filing. Reporting in Robinson Township outside the Toys R Us, Gage Golding, RMU Century Media. Reagan, this seems to be a trend for big box retailers. Could Amazon be taking over the retail world?
Well, I know personally that my family uses Amazon a lot. We even get like some of our groceries and stuff there. So honestly, I think it's a huge possibility.
Absolutely. This isn't the first one. More probably to come.
Definitely. And for all you need to know about news, sports, arts, and entertainment at Robert Morris and around the Pittsburgh area, visit RMU-centurymedia.com. And Larry Nassar was sentenced on Wednesday.
Another school shooting sends shockwaves around.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
To be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want.
I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing.
To be able to see students become successful after Robert Morris is really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
A school shooting at Marshall County High School in western Kentucky on Tuesday leaves 2 dead and at least 18 injured. Let's take a look.
to the families.
Flags at half-staff, signs extending prayers and support. The first thing you see on newspapers.
It's going to be a ripple effect for months on end, and we all need to come together as a family, as a community, as people.
Marty Burton and several other members at Central Church of Christ hope to find healing at a prayer vigil Wednesday night. Just one day after a school shooting left 2 dead and more than a dozen wounded.
One of my nieces was right next to the little girl who got shot in the leg.
The shooting leaving a community shocked and praying for the families of 15-year-old Preston Cope and 15-year-old Bailey Holt, who were both killed in the shooting.
It's still surreal.
Wade Gillespie is the minister at Central Church of Christ. He calls the community tight-knit.
You know people who know someone who had a child there or who was teaching there.
It's a tragedy, he says, people will never forget.
It's going to be a scar. It's going to be a scar that people will die with.
But he and many others are hopeful that through prayer and leaning on one another, they'll find peace.
I feel confident that Marshall County will respond as well as any community.
And we need lots of prayer, lots of help.
Every time something like this happens, I'm hoping we'll come out the other end loving each other a little bit better.
All right, thanks, Hannah. The mother of Bailey Holt states that her daughter called her during the chaos, but couldn't hear her saying anything. Her parents rushed to the school but noticed something was wrong when their daughter never came out.
Scary stuff there, Reagan. Thank you. Over 100 women came out to testify against former Olympic gymnastics team doctor Larry Nassar at his trial this past week. Nassar is facing charges of sexual abuse during his time with the Olympic team, as well as his time at Michigan State. Nassar was sentenced to 40 to 175 years in jail Wednesday following the trial. In light of the Larry Nassar scandal, President of Michigan State University Lou Anna Simon has stepped down. Simon announced that she was stepping down just hours after Nassar was sentenced Wednesday. Simon was promoted to the school's president in 2005 after working up the ranks, serving in other administrative roles.
And on Wednesday, President Donald Trump said that he was open to an immigration plan that will allow up to 1.8 million young people to be brought into the United States as children. This will include $25 billion for a border wall and other security measures. After Congress passed a short-term spending bill, Democrats insist that the Senate take up an immigration bill before voting. And President Donald Trump also stated that he is prepared and even looks forward to being questioned under oath for the investigation of Russia tampering with the 2016 election. Trump and Russia have denied these allegations. Officials say that the questioning may take place in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Scientists with the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists moved the hands of the doomsday clock ahead 30 seconds this past week. The move was in response to the increased amount of nuclear war tension in the world. This is the first time the clock has been closer to midnight since the height of the Cold War in 1953.
In Panama City Beach in Florida, 2 12-year-olds, a boy and a girl, were charged with cyberstalking after the suicide of Gabriella Green. The students went to school with Green. The girl admitted to intending to cause problems between Gabriella and the boy. After learning about her death, the girl deleted the messages on her phone. When Gabriella discussed taking her life to the boy, he said, "If you're going to do it, just do it." The Greens are sharing Gabriella's story to bring awareness to cyberbullying. And an ancient human jawbone that still had 8 teeth embedded inside it is said to be at least 175,000 years old and was uncovered in a collapsed cave on the coast of Israel. It is said that there were also sophisticated stone tools nearby. Officials believe that the owner of the jawbone was probably an unsuccessful explorer. Now, personally, Gage, I love history, so I'm really intrigued by this story.
Absolutely, 175,000 years old. That's incredible. Excited to see what else comes out of that area. Be sure to watch all of our TV shows here on RMU-TV. RMU Live on Mondays at 1 and on Fridays at 12. Sports Talk in the Berg on Wednesdays and Colonial Sports Center on Thursday, right here on RMU-TV.
And coming up after the break, Tyler Schlendorn in our Weather Center.
And Nick Hederick takes down the world of sports.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
To be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want.
I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing.
To be able to see students become successful after upper point is really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to RMU-Live. I'm Nick Hedrick, and it's time for sports. Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWE, announced on Thursday that he would be relaunching the XFL. This is a football league that McMahon and NBC launched for one season back in 2001 before the league folded in the same year. The league will begin play in 2020. The Pittsburgh Penguins had a successful week winning both of their games. They beat Carolina by a final score of 3-1 on Tuesday. Last night, the Penguins knocked off the Minnesota Wild by a score of 6-3. Evgeny Malkin and Sidney Crosby each had big games, tallying 3 points each. Malkin scored 2 goals and had an assist, and Crosby distributed the puck well as he had 3 assists on the night. The Penguins sit in third place in the Metropolitan Division behind Washington and Columbus. In college basketball news, top recruit Zion Williamson committed to play for Duke. Williamson and the nation's #1 recruit, R.J. Barrett, will both be playing for the Blue Devils next season. Back to Pittsburgh sports, the Steelers and star running back Le'Veon Bell continue to work towards an extension on Bell's contract. Bell was franchise tagged last season and will allegedly consider retirement or sit out next season if no deal is reached. In regards to the contract negotiations, Bell said that he and the Steelers are, quote, a lot closer than we were last year, unquote. In RMU sports, the men's basketball team has 2 big games this weekend as they host Sacred Heart tonight and then Wagner on Sunday. Last week, the Colonials beat Sacred Heart, but were unable to beat. They will look for revenge on Sunday. The women's basketball team will look to remain undefeated in conference play as they will play Bryant on Saturday at home. Both the men's and women's hockey teams will be in action this weekend. The men's team will play American International College, and the women will host Penn State. Be sure to get out and support the Colonials in those big games against the Nittany Lions. Now we will toss it over to Tyler Schlendorn with weather. Tyler, how's it going to be outside while those games are going on?
The weather's going to be a very interesting one this week, guys. It's going to be a high of 51 degrees with the low 38. It's also going to be mostly sunny this week, which means it'll be a nice drive to the game. Tomorrow's weather, on the other hand, is going to be a high of 50 degrees with the low 34. It's also going to be cloudy throughout most of the day with some PM showers, so be on the lookout for that. And now let's jump right into the 5-day forecast. 5-day forecast, it's still going to be a very cold one, guys, but it is starting to warm up, but it's going to get even colder at night. And now, let's jump right back to the desk.
And that's all we have for RMU Live.
See you next week and have a great weekend.